This is Paul D. Holt. I was in the U.S. Army all during World War II, from the very first day to the end. I was assigned to the Quartermaster Battalion. They moved us, transferred us from Wales to the southern coast of England. And they called this the marshalling area. That's where the soldiers who was going to make the initial assault was to assemble. We were going to have any meal we wanted to order. Imagine in the Army, order a meal that we would be given before we made the initial invasion. You could have anything you wanted. And believe it or not, we got it. We got it good. So the next morning, or the next day, which happened to be June the 4th, we went down and got on a transport, because we were right next to the water, the channel, and Ernie Pyle happened to be on this ship. It's called the Dorothy Dix. And then we weren't on that ship very long, and they came around and told us invasion has been delayed. So we got off the ship, went back to our marshalling area, and we spent the night there. Well, the next day, it was June the 5th, they took us back down to the channel and put us on a transport. It was a different transport. Now, Ernest Hemingway happened to be on this ship, and we had dinner just before we left the channel, and Ernest Hemingway sat at the table with me and the other officers that was there. Now, in going across the channel, I couldn't imagine how many ships was in the channel. Oh, just hundreds of them. Now, while on this transport going across the channel, I was given a large yellow envelope from General Eisenhower. And in this envelope, believe it or not, was a copy of the invasion plans. Now, you got to realize very, very few people had a copy of the invasion plans. But I had it, plus 2 photographs of Omaha Beach, taken by Lightning fighter planes the day before. I opened up the envelope, and in there was a note to me what my duties were for the invasion. They wanted me in there, one of the first ones in the beach, to establish a supply depot. Because you gotta realize Omaha Beach had no docks to unload ships. I read the instructions that Eisenhower had for invasion. Now, the plans were very, very good, very good. He said that in the letter that at midnight, bombers would come over and bomb the beach, and there was to be nothing living on the beach. Nothing living. At 4 o'clock in the morning, a special Army and Navy demolition team was to go in and remove any obstacles that was not damaged by bombing. That sounded good. Okay. At 6:30 in the morning, we were to make the invasion. Now, I was with the we were attached to the 1st Infantry Division. So we were to go in, and we were supposed to go 1.5 miles inland before we met any opposition. My job was to establish a supply depot. Now, the beach, Omaha Beach, was divided in half. The left half was assaulted by the 1st Infantry Division. Eisenhower wanted the 1st Infantry Division because they had experience in landings down in Africa. He wanted to make sure that Omaha Beach was taken. The right half of the beach was assigned to the 29th Infantry Division, but I was interested in where the 1st Infantry Division was landing. Now, our section was divided in 3 sections: Dog White, Easy Red, and Fox Green. When I went in, I was to land at Dog White. Now, when we went in to make the landing, I was in about the 6th wave, I think. And now the first 4 waves of the 1st Infantry Division, when they went in to make the invasion, they were surprised. Boy, they were shot up, you would never believe, with machine guns going, brrr, that's all you heard and heard. The German 88 was shooting at any vehicle or any kind of a vehicle that was landing, a tank or whatever. And I understand, I was told, that the first 4 waves of the 1st Infantry Division was all wiped out with machine guns, etc. The Navy started to shell the beach right over our heads to try to blow a hole into Omaha Beach. And these 2 battleships, they started throwing their big 15-inch shells in the beach. I don't hear too much about this, but the Navy saved us. Wouldn't have been for the Navy, we probably wouldn't be here. When he dropped the lid down, the door down in front of our LCT, me and Major Eccles jumped right off into the water. And it's only about 5 or 6 other soldiers got off of that boat. When that boat blew out of the water, the boat blew completely out of the water, and all I seen was kids, their arms are flying and bodies flying all over. And boy, those machine guns were shooting us like crazy. 88 shells going by, whistling as they went by. The noise was getting terrible. I dropped on my tummy, and I crawled up the beach on my tummy, out in the water. I turned my head backwards, I look out in the water. I could see ships being hit by shells or teller mines or whatever. They had these poles along the coast, and if your doggone landing craft would happen to strike at one of those poles, they call them a teller mine, and they would blow up the ship right now. Immediately, see the dead soldiers. They were scattered all around the beach. A lot of ships sunk out in the water, never made the coast. They had quite a few soldiers laying in rows. Most of them was injured. They were waiting medical attention, but we didn't have a lot of doctors there to give them much medical attention that we should have had, but they were doing a good job for what they had to work with. Now, for some reason, we were not bothered by any German aircraft all the time we were on the beach. Unexpectedly, it's hard to believe, but right behind the beach was a German Panzer Division. I think it was a 326 Panzer Division. That's an armored division. They were on maneuvers. Hitler, he would not allow, on D-Day, he would not allow that Panzer Division, which was on maneuvers just behind the beach, to move up on the beach and try to push us back in the water, which they could have done. On D-Day, about 10 o'clock at night, I get out my little radio. Right here is the radio. I was not supposed to carry it with me, but I had it with me. I opened it up, and I got the broadcast from London, the BBC, and they were announcing that the invasion had started. There was very few casualties on the BBC, very few casualties. Look around, I seen young boys dead all over the place, laying. Some of them were out in the water. Well, really, I wasn't scared because I had the copy of the invasion plans, and we were supposed to go 1.5 miles inland before we met any opposition. So I wasn't afraid, really. But when I got up to the water's edge and I heard all the machine guns and 88 shooting at you, plus rockets and other things, I thought something went wrong. Something went wrong. Well, I found out later that the Air Force didn't bomb the beach. They missed it. I had a lot of faith that I was going to make it. How I did that, I just had a lot of faith. I had my lucky pieces in my pocket. I had a nickel. It was my lucky piece, had a little hole in it. I carried the smallest Bible ever printed with me. And now, When it comes to praying, I'm not that religious, but I tell you, I never prayed so hard in my life all that day. I really did. Like I say, I'm not that religious, but I sure prayed that day. But fortunately, none of those bullets had my name on it, and I happened to make it. But I was concussion. Oh, I didn't know nothing after about 10 o'clock on there for a couple hours. It's so noisy. Oh, you can imagine the noise around there. In World War II, we felt we had to stop Hitler. The American people as a whole really do not know what war is like. War, I'm going to use the word hell. We went through hell. The kids today in school, they do not know the history. A lot of them don't even know, probably we had a World War II. They have no idea what goes on. We fought to protect the American flag and to protect our country. Smallest Bible that was ever printed.
Oh my goodness.
And I carried this all during World War II. This is what we wore on our patches of our jackets.
Okay.
Seahorse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
These bars are 6 months overseas.
Right.
I was about 3 years.
Sure. So you had that when you were in Omaha Beach?
Oh yeah, I wore this stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I took off was the first aid kit.
Uh-huh.
Had needles in there. My Army 45 was in here.
Uh-huh. So those are all your medals and patches, huh?
Yeah.
That's a lot of history there, isn't it?
Oh yeah. This is given to us by the French government for D-Day.
Okay.
The soldier was gone, but it was a boy.
Uh-huh.
It had to be a young boy. I washed the blood out of the helmet, and it's pretty bad shape.
Oh my goodness.
This is a German helmet.
Yep. Oh boy. Now, did you wear that on D-Day, or?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's the original one?
Yep.
Okay, let's see a salute. There we go.